Hello, today I'm going to show you how to set up a knowledge base in Lumi. So to start with, we're going to go to this menu on the left, we're going to select knowledge bases, and then we're going to go up here and we're going to click create. And so this will give us the option to either create a new knowledge base or deploy a demo knowledge base. So our demo knowledge bases are kind of pre-curated, pre-configured knowledge bases that we make available to customers to sort of train them and to inspire them on what they can do with Lumi. But today we're going to create a knowledge base from scratch. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue here. And this is going to bring us to our connection screen. Now, typically, if you're connecting to your own source system, you're going to either use direct or gateway. And this is going to involve as well following our documentation to set up your source system to connect with Lumi. So there's some aspects to that. It's not an intensely involved process, but there's some configuration required. For this, I'm just going to connect to one of our hosted setups, which is what we use for our internal demo data sets. I'm going to select my favorite of those demo data sets. And then you can see here, you have to have a healthy connection before proceeding. So I'm going to go ahead and test that connection. And you can see it says active, so we're good to proceed to the next step. So I'm going to go ahead there and create the knowledge base. The knowledge base has now been created, and it gives us this option to either manually configure or use our magic wand. So our magic wand will do an automated first pass at the steps that I'm going to demonstrate manually in a minute. And what you can do here is you can select your domains of data. You can either pre-select or you can add a custom one. Let's just select procurement for now. You can select where the data's come from. In this case, let's just say it's in Snowflake. And then you can also select some of our kind of predetermined business priorities for that domain. So we have these options. You can also add custom ones. And then with that information, Lumi will attempt to pull in the meaningful sort of tables and fields and provide them with the descriptions required to address your business priorities using this data. But we're not going to do that right now. Instead, we are going to manually configure a knowledge base. So we're going to get started with that. So you'll see this screen here. Right now it is empty because we haven't added any tables. So on the left here, you can hit this drop down and this will show all of the tables that we have access to in the source system to which we are connected. So within this, going through, I am just going to select two simple tables that I know join to each other. I'm going to select order detail and order header. I'm going to bring those in. You can see now that we have tables, we get this data model tab at the bottom. This will become more useful once I've actually added some fields. So we'll ignore that for now, but we'll get into it a little bit later. So in sales header, your next steps are going to be to populate the description and add some fields and add some context for those fields as well. So for now, I'm just going to put a placeholder value in this just so that I can proceed. In general, you're going to want something that describes what's in this table and how it's typically used. So since this is the header, I'm just going to add the columns that will join to the detail table. So order ID in particular will join to the detail table in this case, and then I just have a number there as well just for an additional column. I'll just add my placeholder text here as well. Other optional configuration steps at this point, you can add filters. So if you only want certain rows from this table to be accessible, you can add some logical conditions there. And you can add some details that are kind of additional table level context in addition to the description. So now that we've gone ahead and done that for the order header, I'm going to do the same for the order detail. So I'm going to add a few things that might be useful. I'm going to add, let's say, the line total, the order quantity, some product IDs, the detail ID, the order ID. And so the order ID is how we are going to join back to the header. Again, this is really just to demonstrate the mechanics rather than how you would specifically configure this. Obviously, you would want these to be much more detailed descriptions, but for now, we're just sort of fleshing out the skeleton of it. And now that we have some tables, we can expand this. And so this allows us to walk through how joins work in Lumi knowledge bases. So Lumi will infer that there is a join between any tables with identical column names. So in this case, it's correct. Sales order ID joins to sales order ID from header to detail. If you don't want Lumi to infer that there's a join there, you should change the name of one or both of these columns so that they don't match anymore, and then Lumi won't expect there to be a join. Alternatively, if you want to join two tables with columns whose names don't match, you can create a custom join here. And so you can go ahead and select your tables. In this case, we only have two, and you can select whatever fields you want, however many fields you want, and you can specify those joins. And if you do that, I'm not going to commit it here, but it will kind of override these inferred joins. So now that we've sort of completed that step, we've verified our joins in this case, we can proceed with the next step, which is populating business context. And so this is mechanically very simple. In practice, there's definitely some best practices involved in how to make this effective. But essentially all you do here is add things about your business and your sort of use case that might not be intuitive or obvious. So definitions of somewhat esoteric acronyms, specific ways that you guys like calculating KPIs, and general details. So often we'll see things like customer segmentation logic and stuff in here. Now these are all optional, so I'm not going to add anything just yet. I'm just going to go ahead and click next. This is where you would add other users to make this knowledge base visible to them. I'm not going to add anyone to this right now because I'm going to get rid of this knowledge base almost immediately. We can go ahead with our next step. And once this finishes sort of generating a description, I can click finalize. So what this will do is it'll generate a first pass at sort of the available data and insights. We can modify this, of course. Also, it adds these conversation starters. So what these are prompts that'll show up in the chat interface when people want to use this knowledge base, just so that they have something to go off of if they're not quite sure what they want to ask. And so you can add more of these if you want. You can edit the existing ones. That's all up to you. So from there, I'm just going to click finalize. This will now create this knowledge base, and so we can see it here. If we want to go back and edit this knowledge base, we can just by clicking edit, and we can make whatever changes we then want to make to the knowledge base. I don't have any changes I want to make right now. And so there it is. There's our knowledge base. You can rename it, of course. I didn't do that in this case. But yeah, that's how to create and configure a knowledge base in Lumi. Thank you for joining, and best of luck with the product.